भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल गायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
We request Shri Harikartha ji to introduce the Honorable Governor.
Brothers and sisters, Honorable Governor, Mr. President, it's my proud privilege today to introduce the most honorable statesman of India to this august audience. While thanking the organizers of Bharatvarsh Global Conclave on Indian Thought, I am a bit embarrassed to stand before you to introduce Shri Arif Mohammed Khan ji. It is just like trying to point a torch at the glowing sun that ordinary journalist like myself introducing the one and only Arif Mohammed Khan ji. I am reminded of the statement by John the Baptist in Bible, who came to pave the way for Jesus Christ. He said, "He who will come after me is so great that I am not even competent to untie his shoelaces." Reminding, recalling, repeating that statement of John Baptist, I am attempting to introduce Shri Arif Mohammed Khan ji, knowing fully well that I am not competent even to untie his shoelaces. The Ganga and the Himalayas need no introduction to Indians. We have a personality now before us who is as deep and as serene and as holy as the Ganga, and who is as mighty and as tall and towering a personality as the Himalayas. But knowing my constraints, knowing my limitations, I am performing my duty, recalling the words said by Lord Krishna to Arjuna in the Kurukshetra battlefield at the outset. As we all know, today is the day when the Kurukshetra war began and when the Gita was rendered to Arjuna by Krishna. When Arjuna turned nervous, he was told by Krishna, "Nimitta matram bhava savyasayin." Be just a tool and perform. Reminding that, recalling that, as an instrument in the hands of Bharatvarsh, I am introducing Arif Mohammed Khan ji. No other governor of Kerala or no other governor of India has ever been as popular and as sought after as Shri Arif Mohammed Khan. There is not even a day or not even an hour when Arif Mohammed Khan doesn't hit the headlines in newspapers and news channels. Although a section of the media strongly differs with him politically, he is the darling of the media in Kerala and also in Delhi, because once the face of Arif Mohammed Khan is there on the mini screen, their TAM rating skyrockets. He is popular because of the issues he takes up, because of the popularity of the issues he takes up. He takes up issues one after the other, which wins him the admiration and awe of the entire people, barring perhaps a very few who have political access to grind. He was never after positions, although he had the fortune of being the minister of the central cabinet, not only once, twice. He was member of the Rajiv Gandhi cabinet, and those were the days when Rajiv Gandhi had absolute majority in the parliament by over 400 seats on an issue which he believed right, that is on the Shabano issue. He resigned his cabinet ministership. He was also minister, cabinet minister in the VP Singh ministry later. The portfolios which he has handled ranges from civil aviation, company affairs, industry, and so on and so forth. His speech is to be heard, to be believed. He is a scholar par excellence. He is a scholar not only in English and Hindi, but also Persian, Arabic, and even Sanskrit. He dedicated 7 years of his life for the study of Sanskrit. He did it like a tapasya. And in fact, he is much more scholarly in Upanishads, Vedas, and the Hindu scriptures than many of the so-called Pandits we have. I'll conclude my words with a small sloka from the Sanskrit, which explains or which exposes Shri Arif Mohammed Khan ji. Nindandu niti nimuna yativa suvandu lakshmihi samavishadu gechadu va yadhesham adyeva va maranamastu yugandare va nyayat patha pratichalanti padham nadhira. Most of you know Sanskrit and I don't have to explain. Lakshmi hi samavishadu gachadu va yadesham, whether riches come or not, riches come or go. Adyeva va maranamastu yugandare va, let death occur, happen today or years after. Lakshmi hi samavishadu gachadu va adyeva maranamastu yugandare va nyayat patha pratichalanti padam nathira. From the right step, intellectuals, the bold people never deviate. This is Arif Mohammed Khan, and I offer my Sashranga pranams to him and also to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Harikartha ji. Now, on behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to offer a welcome felicitation to the Honorable Governor, sir. अब मैं परम आदरणीय गवर्नर महोदय से निवेदन करता हूं कि कृपया वे आएं और हम सबको संबोधित करें।
Dr. Sachidanand Joshi ji, Shri Deepak Singhal, Dr. Subroto Gangopadhyay, Dr. Sharat Menon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I must express my gratitude to the organizing committee of Bharatvarsh, the cradle of civilization, for their kind invite and giving me this opportunity to speak to this very distinguished gathering assembled in one of the in one institution of which we Indians feel greatly proud of. That is IIT Delhi. Since we are on the subject of discussion, or the theme of the conference is Bharatvarsh, cradle of civilization. So the words of Dr. Birjendranath Seal, who was a classmate of Swami Vivekanand and Vice Chancellor of Mysore University. His ringing words come to my mind. He has written that, rather he has used this phrase, he has coined it, a phrase to describe India. India is ever aging but never old. Nitya Nutan, Chir Puratan. The word Puran, India is ancient, but it is not old. For the ancient, the word in Sanskrit is Puran. But Puran is a term which has been used in Bhagavad Gita to describe the Atma. And Shankaracharya, while commenting on that particular shlok, he has used the phrase Purapi Nava Evati Purana. It is ancient but always fresh, always new. Purapi. And the shlok is na jayate miryate va kadachin nayam bhuta bhavita nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So in a sense, India has been compared to Atma, which does not take birth, which does not die. And an Urdu poet has given expression to the same sentiment when he said, Yunano Misro Roma सब मिट गए जहां से, बाकी मगर है अब तक नामो निशां हमारा। कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारी, सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे जमा हमारा। This is not only praise of or acknowledgement of the ancient and continuous culture of India, but what has been pointed out is that we have been able to maintain the continuity of this ancient civilization despite very adverse circumstances through which our country has passed. But these 4 lines, they state a fact. They do not explain what is the kuch baat hai ke hasti mitti nahi hamari. What is that baat? What is the secret of the staying power of Indian culture? That does not come out there. It merely states the fact that we have been through very, very difficult periods, but we have successfully maintained the continuity of this ancient culture. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore gives a clue about that. And he says, I love India, not because I cultivate the idolatry of geography. I love India, not because I have had the good fortune to be born in her soil, but I love India because she has successfully saved the living words which issued from the illuminated consciousness of her children. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Shantam Shivam Advaitam. So he has described what is the staying power. The love for knowledge, the keenness to preserve the knowledge, to promote knowledge. Every nation, like every individual, like every society, like every group, has its own genius, some distinguished mark by which it is defined. What is that genius of India? The same sentiment which has been expressed by Gurudev, you find written in prose in the writings of early Arab historians. The first historian, European Renaissance had not even properly taken off at that time. Not fully taken off. 10th, 11th centuries. Whether it is Tabri, it is Ibn Kasir, it is Ibn Asir, Ibn Rushd, Haykal, they have written the history of the world. And each one has 8, 9, 10, 11 volumes. And the first volume, the first chapter, almost in every one of them, it says, the world has 5 dominant civilizations. The Persian civilization is known for its majesty, splendor. The Chinese for their craftsmanship and for obedience to the rulers. Romans for their beauty and chivalry. Turks for their bravery. And India is the only civilization which is known for promotion of knowledge and wisdom. That is our distinguishing feature. Again, I would like to refer to a sentence said by Gurudev. He said, and very, very weighty words. He said, India cannot attain true independence unless it is recognized that her foundation is in mind. It is nowhere else. India's foundation is in mind, which with its diverse powers and confidence in those powers goes on all the time, creating Swaraj for itself. Swaraj is not one-time attainment. It's a continuous process. But we will have to first recognize that India's special feature, India's genius, India's distinguishing quality is mind. It is in mind. And we can look around. World over, not just in India, world over. The monuments of power which are created by hand, by physical strength, huge, great, but over a period of time they become ruins because of the vagaries of nature. But the monuments of mind, they are everlasting. In Delhi itself, go to Purana Qila. People believe that it was built by Pandavas with the help of that Asur architect, Mayasur, who was a master of his craft. The old fort, Purana Qila, lies in ruins, tattered. But the message, the monument of mind, which came at the same time in the form of message from Lord Krishna, Gita, not a syllable has changed over this long period of mind. That is the difference between monuments of power and monuments of mind. And that explains why Dr. Birjendranath Seal uses the term Puran for India, the term which Shankaracharya has explained. Pura api nav evti Purana in his commentary on Gita. So unless we become, it is only through knowledge. I often say, knowledge is preserved through words. Words are composed by syllables. In Sanskrit, a syllable is named as akshar, something which cannot be destroyed, indestructible. Now, if 2 units or more than 2 units of the indestructible thing, they come together, you can understand the power of word. And then when those powerful words come together to create a text, the monument of mind, then how powerful they are. It is difficult to describe. You can only feel it. So, India, in the sense, or before that, the contemporary India, the India in which we are living, is unlike contemporary Greece or contemporary Egypt. Because we must not forget, we need to be aware that there are 5 civilizations or 6. Somewhere it is mentioned 5, somewhere it is 6, which are described as cradle of civilizations. And the oldest one, generally believed, is Mesopotamia. The people who live in that area, do they have any connection with with their ancient civilization? No. People living in Greece, do they have any living connection? In Egypt, do they have any living connection? Or in the New World, the Maya civilization. People living in that area, they do not have any living connection with that ancient civilization. Here, if we try to figure it out, try to understand it, what is the difference between other civilizations and Indian civilization? If we are able to figure out that distinction, then possibly we may be able to lay our hands on what has ensured the continuity of Indian civilization. Civilizations world over were defined either by the color of the skin, by the language which people in those areas spoke, defined particularly in later period. The civilizations were defined by the faith tradition. That is identity of belief and identity of expression of devotion to in whom you ever believed. Indian civilization, can we say that Indian civilization was defined either by language or by the color of skin or by the faith tradition? Nobody can say that. Because they are parameters which are exclusive. Exclusive means people speaking languages which are different from that language, there is no way they can become part of that civilization. People who have a different faith tradition, they cannot become member of that civilization, honorable members. They were always considered as the others. And others created Duit Yadave Bhe Bhavti. If you consider somebody as other, then that creates a feeling of fear in your mind. There is an Arabic phrase, Annaso Adao Ma Jahil. People become enemy of that which they know not about. So that was people looked with suspicion at others or at people who spoke different language, who had a different faith tradition, whose skin color was different. And when they viewed them with suspicion, ultimately it led to fear. Fear led to enmity. Enmity led to violence. And what was the Indian approach? We cannot define by language. We cannot define by color of the skin. We cannot define. Well, we cannot define even by faith tradition. Look at India today. Two brothers in the same family, one goes to Hanuman temple and one goes to Shiva temple. So every home will become a battlefield if we try to define by faith tradition. Then what parameter they chose? Our thought leaders, whom we call rishis, they said, any person, any human being shall be viewed not in terms of the variable and alienable characteristics like color of skin, like how you offer your devotions, what language you speak, factors which are associated with your birth. No, that will not be the basis. How we will view anybody? Any human being. How we will view? The person shall be viewed in terms of the invariable and inalienable characteristic, that is the divinity, which is the common heritage of all mankind. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. The same divine who dwells in you dwells in me. We are spiritually interlinked. We are related. Famous Kapil Muni Deva Ahuti Samvad. When he realized the truth, and mind it, the Indian philosophy does not believe that you can comprehend the whole truth. The seeker of truth, they have only a partial view of the truth. In Jain tradition, it is explained through the story of Andhgajanne, 6 blind people trying to describe an elephant. Anekantvad. So, Kapil Muni, and there is a great lesson in that story that also explains why, despite being the knowledge hub, knowledge destination, and recognized so by the world, why history has been so cruel to us. We should acknowledge history has been very cruel to us. Can you imagine a society which is known for its knowledge and wisdom carrying the yoke of slavery on its shoulder for such a long period of time? Why it happened? There I would like to use that thing from Kapil Muni Devahuti Samvad. When he had that realization, because for India, religion is not a matter of faith. It's a matter of experience. Anubhuti, anubhav. It is not enough to say, I believe in God. What is required is, I have seen God. Swami Vivekananda poses this question to Shri Paramhans Ramakrishna. Have you seen God? More intensely than I am seeing you. For us, it is not a question of believing. No, belief is not sufficient. You need to see God. When he had that realization, the Indian tradition says that tapa swadhyay nirittam, ever devoted to the pursuit of knowledge. But when that you are able to acquire some knowledge, then it creates a desire, a hunger in you to share it with others. The Upanishad says, after this tapa swadhyay nirittam, what is tapa? Several answers are given. But the answer which finds universal acceptance is, tapa is swadhyay plus pirvachan. First seek knowledge, acquire knowledge, and then share it with others. Unfortunately, what I was referring to as history being cruel to us was then we cease to be loyal to this great tradition. And we not only stopped sharing knowledge, we denied access to knowledge to large part of our masses. Swami Ranganathananda, who was chief of the Ramakrishna mission, if you go through his particularly the 4th volume, he deals with this question in detail. He quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam. He Saraswati Gyan Khalv Yatha Sati. He says that Srimad Bhagavatam says that a scholar who imprisons his knowledge within himself, he becomes a villain of Ma Saraswati. And then he says, that is why, because we ceased to be loyal to our own legacy, therefore history became cruel to us. So I was talking about Kapil Devahuti Samvad that says, Athmam sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatmanam kirtalayam archaye dan manabhyam maitri abhinain chakshusha. Deho devalaya, see each one as my abode, temple of God. And the sincerity and devotion and with those feelings, the way you enter into a temple to offer your devotions, in the same manner deal with everyone. Atvam sarveshu bhutatmanam kirtala. And wherever you can help them to fulfill their felt wants, do that. And while doing this, have it clear in your mind, you are doing no favor to anybody. Look at everyone with an impartial eye, abhinnain chakshusha. Develop that quality in you which does not discriminate, or where you evolve into a person. What a beautiful, I don't remember the name, Shankaracharya's composition. Say, Name dvesh rago, name lobh moho, madonev menev matsarya bhava, na dharmo, na chartho, na kamo, na moksha, chidanand rupa shivoham shivo. Nirvan shatakam. Nirvan shatakam. When you train your mind and you evolve yourself into a person who has given up rag dvesh, who has given up lobh moh, then even dharma, artha, kama, everything becomes meaningless for you. Because that is what, through dharma, kama, and artha, that is what you want to achieve in your life. If you have evolved into that person, then all these things, they lose their relevance. So basically, the point which I am trying to hammer is that because Indian civilization had a universal vision, right from the start of our civilizational journey, it was not exclusive, it was inclusive, all inclusive. It had a universal vision. That is something which I feel that is what has contributed greatly to its continuity. And universal vision, and not only that, we should say it as a matter of pride. Even non-Indians have recognized it. Mark Twain says, India is the cradle of the human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend, the great-grandmother of tradition. Now, when we hear these things, or the man who headed the Asiatic Society in Calcutta, William Jones, he said, I'm impressed and wonder-struck by this language. He's referring to Sanskrit. I'm impressed and wonder-struck by this language which is more perfect than Greek, more copious than Latin, and judged by the roots of verbs and rules of grammar, it shows kinship to, or even looks like, Gothic, Celtic, and Old Persian. We must also, it is very integral to Indian philosophy, Indian civilization, that according to the Indian tradition, the highest aim of human life, highest goal, is integration of personality, which reconciles an individual to his own self, Atma, his fellow beings, and the Supreme Spirit. If you are convinced in your mind that it is the same divinity which dwells in everybody, this is the common heritage of mankind. If your mind has been trained to accept it, and it has started reflecting in your behavior, can you ever think of stepping on the feet of the other person? Because ultimately you realize that this darshan makes it abundantly clear that what goes around comes around. There is a beautiful anecdote from Anand Ramayana. Oh, sorry. I think I should conclude. With this anecdote, I will conclude. Bhagwan Ram, after his victory over Ravan, came back to Ayodhya. The Ram Rajya was established, and one day while he was sitting in his court, a dog came crying there. And he said, so and so has hurt me severely, physically hurt me severely, without any fault of mine. He took cognizance of his complaint, ordered immediate inquiry. His complaint was verified, by the officials that yes, he has been hit. And there was no reason for that person to hit him. Then Bhagwan Ram says to this dog, he says, you yourself suggest what punishment I should give him. This man says that he is Mahant of a temple, make him chief Mahant, make him chief priest of the temple. Everybody in the court smiled, and somebody asked him, have you come here to get punishment for him, or you have come here to get him rewarded and promoted? The dog replied that although in this life I am a dog, I am born of a dog, but my punya karma are so many that I am a Chaitanya Atma. I know who I was in my last birth. Although you are human beings, but you are not Chaitanya Atma, that you are asking me this question. In my last birth, I was the chief priest of a temple. And when you are the chief and you do not feel accountable to anybody, then you are likely to do things which are stupid. And I am paying for something which I had done as chief of that institution. What is this punishment? If I ask the king to give him how this punishment, how long it will last? I want him to suffer the same fate which I am suffering today. So an Indian who is familiar of his own legacy, his own principles, his own traditions, her own great cultural legacy, can never think of stepping on the feet of other person. Our pride does not mean, we have every right to feel proud of our legacy, but we have no right to become arrogant. Absolutely, there is no yastu sarvani bhutani atmanye vanu pachyati. Sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tatona viju gupt se. One who has trained the mind to see that oneness of being. What to say of enmity? He cannot have any aversion or cannot see anybody as the other. That is what. And not just that. Gita says, yad yad vibhuti mat tattavam shri mad urjitam evava tattad eva avagacha tvam mama tejom shasambhavam. Gita does not say that all glory belongs to us, all power belongs to us, all splendor belongs to us, all beauty belongs to us. Bhagavan Krishna is saying in Gita, wherever you see that extraordinary splendor, extraordinary beauty, extraordinary power, extraordinary merit, extraordinary brilliance, know that it has been created from a part of my splendor. Therefore, we must have respect for everybody who has these qualities, and we must see in him the divinity at work and must try to learn from them. This is what Indian tradition, Indian cultural legacy, this is what Indian cultural legacy exhorts us to do. And that is the secret, in my opinion, that is what has given in short continuity of this ancient civilization. I hope and pray we try to know more about it and we become more familiar with our own values and traditions. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat.
I invite Dr. Subrata Gungapadhyay to thank the government.
Thank you, Honorable Governor. Thank you, Honorable Governor, for exhorting us with that illuminating address, which is a composite of our heritage and civilizational values, reflecting the cradle of civilization, from where we draw our seeds of inspiration and through our kriyamana karma create our destiny. There is not much more to add after this address, and I thank him for sparing time to come here. I do also thank Dr. Sachidanand Joshi for making all of this possible through his institution, Dr. Sudhir Lal, all the wonderful volunteers, Dr. Sri Deepak Singalji, Sri Sarath Menanji, Mary Suresh Ayurji, and all of you who listened to him with rapt attention, as we all should have. Dhanyavad, Jai Hind, Vande Mataram. And Honorable Governor, I do also want to point to the Honorable Governor that we have within our midst Lieutenant R. Madhavan, who is actually an INA veteran, who is 97 years old, who has participated and is a representative of our living history. And to listen to him is my 94-year-old father, who's sitting right there, who has listened to you as well. Thank you again. Please stand for the next one.
भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल गायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय जय जय